What's good, YouTube? My name is Bria and I am back with another video. First things first, if you're not yet subscribed, please do so down below. Click that notification bell so you are notified when I drop a video. Now, today's video is going to be a story time, and as you probably read in the title, it's going to be about my crazy college roommate. This story dates back to my sophomore year, I believe. I was living on the on-campus suites. It's kind of like apartment style living, but it's on campus. So this particular one was set up like you walk in, you have like a mini kitchen, you have a common area where there's like 2 couches, a table, you can put a TV in there. There's 2 people per room, and then there's a bathroom for those 2 people, and it's the same on the other side. I got into this room a little bit late because I forgot to renew my lease. I wasn't placed into these rooms until like maybe 2 weeks after school had already started. I was originally in the traditional dorm. So when I got placed, there were 2 girls that were already settled in. So I met them, they were cool, they were spunky, they were crazy, we hit it off immediately. When I got into my room, I realized no one was in there. And I was under the impression that they had already placed everybody in their rooms. I was thinking, cool, I got this huge room to myself and I'm gonna do what anybody else would do and I'm gonna make it mine. So what I did was I put the beds together, I put the dressers together, I just hooked up the room and made it my own. Okay, so time goes on, I'm settled in, I'm doing my thing, and I remember one day waking up with the craziest headache. So I decided I'm gonna go get something to eat and then I'll come back and probably go to sleep or something. And I'm probably gone between 20 and 30 minutes, get something to eat, get some grub, get something to drink. I come back to my room only to find a suitcase just sitting in my room, and placed ever so gently on top of the suitcase is a letter. It says something along the lines of, hey Bria, I see that you set up the room, you made it your own, but I am, however, your new roommate. If you can, whenever, split everything so I can come move in. Like I said, I had a banging headache. I was not moving anything that day. So I did text her back out of courtesy. I just said like, I'm not feeling well, but I will wake up first thing in the morning and I'll move everything and you can be free to move in. So I did what I said. The next morning, I wake up about 9 a.m. I'm still feeling a little bit down, but I move everything. I text her like, hey, you can move in whenever, the room's set up. I didn't really have an idea of what she would look like, but it wasn't this. In walks this little short, cute little petite Asian girl. I get up, I introduce myself, I wipe the crust out of my eyes, whatever. I'm like, hi, I'm Bria, I'm energetic and I'm, welcoming. She's kind of like very timid, and I understand. I'm like this girl, I'm in your face, I'm like, hey, welcome. And she probably was just like, whoa sis, chill out. Eventually I settled down, I got her vibe, so I met her energy, and I, offered my labor, and I'm like, hey, if you need help moving anything, I'm free to help. I'm not doing anything. I slowly but surely realized that she didn't speak much English, if any English. So a lot of the time I had to kind of motion what I was trying to convey to her. I'm like, how does she, write out this very intricate letter to me and text me back? So I figured, maybe someone did that for her. At this point, I'm really like, I'm excited because here goes someone from a completely different culture. We can probably get to know each other, share different foods. I like to eat, especially Asian food. That's one of my favorite foods. This is about to be an adventure. It wasn't, but we'll get to that. I had a room refrigerator. It was one of those, little refrigerators that you put in your room, but it was big enough to put plenty of things in it. So I told her, hey, if you ever need this for your food, feel free. If you ever need any snacks, feel free. Just ask your girl and you got it. Note, she never used my refrigerator. She would always come and leave her food on her desk or on her bed. So I would come home from class and my room smelled like whatever she had eaten that day, and it was so annoying, but I just let it rock. The refrigerator was on my side, so I kind of figured she didn't want to, kind of invade my privacy, come on my side, use my refrigerator. She was kind of giving me my space. It's the first night that she's there, and I'm ready to go to bed. I remember I had an 8 a.m. class the next day, so it's fairly early where I'm ready to go to bed. I turn the lights off, she gets ready for bed, she gets in bed, and immediately flips open her MacBook, hops on FaceTime with who I'm imagining was her boyfriend at the time. They start chatting away in her language, and I have no clue what she's saying, so I'm kind of minding my business as I would either way. And eventually she starts bawling, crying, and I'm just like, I'm a type of person, I'm very sympathetic, empathetic. If I feel like maybe you miss your home, I feel like, you know, this is a new environment for you, you have this new roommate who you can't really speak to because there was a language barrier, I probably would be crying too. It was a little strange, a little awkward because I'm just sitting there and she's crying, but I chose to ignore it at the time. This ended up being a nightly routine where she would hop on her MacBook, call her little boo, cry her eyes out, go to sleep. But it was like nights on end where, all right sis, I have class tomorrow, I don't want to hear you boo-hoo. But me being the roommate I said nothing to her. So one day I tried to have a conversation with her and I'm like, hey, how long have you been in the United States? Where are you from? And that's where I found out she's from Tokyo. And I asked, how long have you been here in the United States? And she states 2 weeks. I was flabbergasted, like 2 weeks, and they throw you in here, they throw you with someone who has a completely different culture than you. We can't really communicate because we don't speak the same language, and here you are just kind of like alone. And I felt bad, honestly. One day I wake up to her alarm, and it was one of the days I had my 8 a.m. and it was early enough for me to be up and, you know, get something to eat, and class was close to my apartment, or my suite rather. At this point, I gotta take care of me. I have to make sure I'm at class on time. So I got up, I turned my alarm off because obviously I didn't need it anymore, and I go to class. This class was about an hour long, and it was about 5 to 10 minutes away from where my suite was. I remember walking back from class only to hear her alarm still going off. And sis is in a dead sleep. Like the way I left her that morning, she was still in a dead sleep. And at this point, I'm scared because, are you dead? We'll call her Veronica for the sake of this video. I tapped her like, hey Veronica, your alarm's going off. She jumps up and she's flailing and she's going crazy like, oh my god, oh my god. So I'm pretty much sure that she missed her class, but that's not my, you know, it's not my job to wake you up for your class. You need to get up. She gets up, she's frantic, and she's mad, obviously. She turns off her thing, and she just like storms out of the room. She grabs her stuff. I'm like, okay. Many mornings, she would wake up and just literally roll out of bed and go to class. It was like 1, 2, 3, roll, grab her bag, and she's out. It was so strange, so bizarre. I don't know how they get down in Tokyo. So that's how you get to class, that's how you get to class. Don't mind me. One of my friends actually had class with her and hit me up like, hey, Veronica is really having trouble in my class. Like, she tries to translate everything the professor is saying. We all know you can't really write down every single thing the professor is saying because there's key points that the professor says that are important that you need to jot down, but everything is not important, and you're gonna get lost if you try to, you know, record every single thing. I found out fast that she was literally failing some of her classes. She clearly didn't really want a connection with me, so I kind of just minded my business. One Sunday evening-ish, it was like 5:30, I get a knock on the door and it's one of the RAs. She's like, hey Bria, you're not in trouble. Like, that's not how you start a conversation. Now I'm like, what happened? And she's like, I kind of just want to discuss what's going on between you and Veronica. At this point, I'm like, what's going on with Veronica and I? Because we don't speak. She's like, we'll discuss it when we meet. When are you free? I had been free the next day, so I was like, we can meet tomorrow at so and so time. We met up and they take me into this room that's behind like the initial desk that where you would, you know, talk to the RA or sign someone in, like a guest or anything. There's like a back office room that's always shut. And I go in there and Veronica's sitting there and she's like in her little turtle shell, and I'm a full-blown attitude at this point because what is happening and why am I here? The RA goes on and she's like, hey Veronica, we kind of just want to confirm some of the things that you told us. As she's reading things off, Veronica's kind of just like as if she doesn't really understand what she's saying. I'm extremely confused. How is she relaying these messages or whatever her issues are to you guys if she can't speak English? And then you're saying what she said to you and she just looks super oblivious to anything that's going on. So I'm just sitting there like, yeah, Veronica, let them know, enlighten me, because I'm new to this too. This is new to me. Apparently, on the list of bad roommate things, I am loud, I am very rude, I play my music loud, and I had a boyfriend that made her very uncomfortable in her own space. I can be loud at times. I can say maybe if I'm on the phone, or sometimes I would joke around with the roommates that were on the other side, and we could get kind of loud, but it was never like disruptive loud. Like rude, I am the last thing from rude. Like rude is not in my DNA unless I have a reason to be rude. If you're rude to me, I'm gonna be rude back. But in this case, I was never ever rude. If anything, I was very nice and very inviting to this girl. I even offered to let her use my refrigerator in my space. Rude where? I'm just like on one, listen to all this. Like this, who is she talking about? She can't be talking about me. I play my music really loud. She says that and I'm just like, how, Sway? How? How?
How, Sway?
Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
She would be home, and when she was home, I would play my music, most likely out of my laptop, because that was my only means of playing music. And when she was there, I would have my headphones in. If she wasn't there, I wouldn't have my headphones in. But even then, it couldn't be loud because it's not like I had speakers or anything to like amplify whatever I was listening to. So I'm just like mind blown at this point. And then the boyfriend. When she said that, I burst into tears. Like, this was the funniest thing I could have ever heard, because if I have this boyfriend, where is he at? At this point, I was super single, like with a capital S on super and single. Why am I going to bed by myself every night cuddling my body pillow if I have this boyfriend, this so-and-so boyfriend who's, you know, making you feel uncomfortable? The girl starts getting really shaky because I guess she felt my energy. I guess she didn't think that I would be in the room, as she had to confirm these things. So as she's reading off the stuff, Veronica gets really sad and she's like, yeah, and I'm just like, really? How can you just conjure up all of these lies, go to the front desk, sit down and speak to an RA behind my back and tell all of these crazy stories and crazy lies? I'm over it, and I think the RA saw it on my face that I was over it, and she also read on my face that I was completely annoyed and I felt extremely disrespected. They decided to talk to us separately. Let's do it. Veronica leaves and I'm there, and the RA literally looks at me and she's like, look, we get it. Like, we know you are not this person. You're not a horrible roommate. You're not, you know. So we kind of feel like she's crazy. And I'm like, thank you, somebody's seeing it. Because I was not about to sit here and get in trouble or, you know, have my reputation taken for granted for some crazy girl who just lied on me. Mind you, all my friends lived in this building, so I didn't have to sneak anybody in my room. Like, if anything, if I wasn't in my room, I was either in the library or I was downstairs at my friend's house or their suite. She's like, we know you, we know your friends, we kind of know that, you know, you don't really do much. I didn't do much of anything. There wasn't much to do. So I go to my room and I get a call from my friend who actually lived on the bottom floor. She's like, hey Bree, what's wrong with your roommate? She's like, she's literally down here on her knees bawling. I don't understand what's happening. She sat there, she lied on me. She's just apparently going to the RA and telling them this and that about me, and I'm just so confused as to where she's getting this stuff from. So she can cry her eyes out. I do not care. Maybe 5-10 minutes goes on and she walks in with one of her friends. He comes up to me and he starts apologizing, like, I'm sorry she wasted your time. You don't have to see her anymore. So they're kind of gathering up her stuff. And I'm just like, what's happening? I'm like, you don't have to apologize for her. This is her doing. And honestly, I'm not fazed. I don't care. Like, bye. Bye. I quickly put 2 and 2 together. She obviously didn't want to live with me anymore. And the way the rules go, if you want to switch a room, you have to have a real reason. You can't just say, I don't want to live here anymore, I want to live somewhere else. You had to have a legit reason to not live. So her tactic was to throw me under the bus, make me seem like this roommate from hell so they can switch her to one of her friends. And like, sis is really getting down with the get down to try to get her own room. And it worked. And honestly, when I think back on it, it's funny, but I came out as the winner because I got my room back. Veronica. I would see her on campus with her friends and they would give me the look of death as if all this stuff were true, as if I was bullying sis. I literally was uncomfortable around her and her friends and the Asian population on campus. They were out to get me. They hated me for the rest of the semester. It was so strange and so awkward. I felt so uncomfortable, as if I did something. I was pretty sure Veronica told them, you know, this grandiose story that whatever she told the RAs, she probably told them times 10. In the end, like I said, I won. I got my room back. I didn't have a roommate for the rest of the semester. Put my beds back together. I lived my life. And that's that. Let me know if you like this story. Write down in the comments below if you've ever had any situations with a crazy college roommate. If you ever been the crazy college roommate, don't be the crazy college roommate, because that's just not a good look, sis. You gotta learn to be open. And that's me, but you know, in this case, it didn't really work out for the best. I mean, it did, but it didn't. It was just a crazy situation. Hope you enjoy. I will see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and peace.